I ain't gonna even lie. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, if any day was a day of confirmation of how much I've been tested or have had to been tested, then I think today is the day. And the reason I say that is because literally everything that wants to try to go wrong has tried to go wrong. But the amazing part is I'm still standing and I'm still here. So we're gonna just progress, push on, and let this life be what it is and do what we do what we do best. And what we do best is do great things and improve on greater things. What's good, y'all? This BT Brite Podcast coming at y'all with another episode. And as you can see in the title, it's called Banking 101. I can't speak on how much I'm emphasizing this as being one of my most unique topics. I don't want it to turn into a sermon or like I'm bad mouthing or finger pointing or anything, because the truth is everyone learns differently. And if at any point in life you don't see or realize that, then something's wrong. And I'm saying it that way solely because a lot of us are very afraid and very terrified of online banking, and we're afraid of trying to manage money and do it online because we feel like it's better to go to somebody and physically do it. This might be a very bold statement, but I'm going to stand behind it because I feel like it's nothing short of the truth. In 10 years, there may not be many physical banks left. So value these and savor it for what it's worth. We're slowly blending and creeping into a digital era, and if you don't see that or aren't learning that or don't realize it now, then you might want to wake up. Just an FYI. So this probably will be a very brief podcast, solely because I usually will have like a tab set up and my information to talk about and something to kind of go on and reference and all that stuff. But this one is a little different. It's going to kind of be just some things that I feel like people who are afraid to use the internet or afraid to do online banking or browsing or surfing the net or just learning the net should know. First thing that I'm going to talk about, and the biggest one to me, is passwords. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be as clear and direct as I can in what I'm about to say. If there is any place that is not beneficial to put a password, it's on a Post-it note. People, time and time again, have this tendency or this trend that they have to put their passwords on a Post-it note, and it has to be stored or sitting somewhere so that they can remember what their username and password is. Easiest passwords are the ones that only you will remember and that can apply to you to everyday life. Most sites will allow you to do the same password in different formats. I think the problem is, and if anybody is able to look at a keyboard and confirm this, you have alphabets, you have symbols, you have numbers. You may be limited in not being able to use symbols, and that's okay. But use what you have. It's better to work with what you're able to do than to short yourself on what you think you might be able to do. And I just needed to get that out there and really say that before I go any further with doing this podcast. Because a lot of people are very cautious about what they do when it comes to online anything, but they will make their information just as known to anybody. And it's the worst part about it is you never know who's going to come to your house and who's going to view or not view something. And this kind of also ties into my next point. The password books, I get it. You want to save it in a book, take a note of it, save it somewhere, sit it off to the side. What if the house sets on fire? You don't have that information, then what? Everyone who is anybody, whether they use it to its fullest or not, has some form of a digital device that you can store information in that only you can get to. Most of it's a cell phone. Put it in your cell phone. put it as a note. Make it so that it's somewhere that only you can get to and only you would need to access that information. I don't know how much I can emphasize how important that is when it comes to how to manage and how to handle passwords as you're entering them in online. So I just wanted to at least get that password management piece out of the way. I feel like I'm using the pop filter to the nth of no return. If I had the pop filter on, it would be perfect for this, but I'm being a little lazy, so we're just gonna push on. We're just gonna push on to the next topic. So the next topic I have is pretty simple, pretty direct. When you're sending payments online, and this, listen, all of these tips that I'm giving, before I continue, I want to make this very clear to everyone listening. I am not basing this solely on where I'm employed. A lot of people do know where I'm employed. A lot of people don't. I'm not putting that as a public story because it's relevant but not relevant, if that makes sense. It's kind of a universal across the board thing with most banks. When entering information for a payment, to make an online payment through bill pay, double check, triple check, quadruple check that you have the correct payment going to the correct person on the correct day. If you have a payment that's supposed to be going to your mom and you expect it to get there by next Tuesday, make sure you have mom selected and not Macy's, because those things can be resolved and they can be fixed, but the process and the hassle of having to do that in some instances, and it's not with me primarily, it's just in general, all you're doing is prolonging the process of your payment arriving to its proper location on time. So just be aware of that. My next thing that I'm going to say, and this is a very simple one, observe and check account information. And here's what I mean when I say that. Learn your account number, or learn how to be accustomed to your account number, because a lot of times individuals are scared, and I get it. It's 2016. No one wants to give anybody their social security number because they're worried if they give out their social security number, they're giving their life away. No problem. I 1000% understand that. On the other side of that, however, if you don't want that to be an information that you, a form of information to give, learn your account information. Know your debit card. Know your account number. Things like this can be found, where of all places, online. It's a secure location that has that information for you and only you to see. Now, this kind of piggyback on the password process. Do not have your passwords automatically stored. Some people do this, and I know even my generation, we're famous for it. I don't want to remember that password. I'm just going to forget it anyway, so I'm just going to let it put it in for me. That can work, but you come out better sometimes if you actually just type it out and learn to keep track of those specific passwords and not unintentionally manually enter them in, if that makes sense. So I want that to be something that a lot of you all listen to and take heed to as well. Now my last thing, and I guess this is kind of my last thing, but it's kind of not going to take up the most of the podcast, because like I said, this is a brief podcast. This is one of those, usually I got some stuff and I got topics and I got things to talk about, but this one is kind of a near and dear thing to me, being a computer person. And it will help a lot of people who use computers. Learn your browsers and learn about what type of browser or what web browser you're using on a computer. Anyone who knows, or anyone who doesn't, if you do not know, a web browser. Now, to all of my young folks, my millennials, everybody who's 30s, maybe 40s, you may or may not have to go through this class. So if you don't, hey, you can stop the podcast right here. It's been nice talking to y'all. It's been Bright State Podcast signing out. But for the rest of you who are listening, who need to understand this is very important. there are various web browsers that have various abilities or have various features for various programs or different websites. Most computers, like if you have a Windows computer, by default is going to have either Internet Explorer or, as most people call it, Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge, and anybody who may or may not know this, is now the pretty much, if you have a Windows 10 computer, that's the browser that's being used as an actual web browser on a Windows 10 computer. It's supported for most things, but it's not supported for everything. So you have to keep that in mind. Sorry, I'm in click mode right now, but trying to get to something so I can see it myself and kind of get you to understand the difference. Most people who have computers have Google Chrome. Google Chrome, red colored, it's a circle. It's shaped like a circle. It has a red mark at the top, green off to the left side, yellow to the right, and a blue circle in the middle. That's Google Chrome. Firefox, or Mozilla. Mozilla Firefox has been out for years and a lot of people didn't use it, but it suddenly kind of made its resurrection on people's computers. Mozilla is through Firefox. Firefox is a part of Mozilla's web options. They have other programs that they use, but the main one that you'll hear most frequently is Mozilla. Mozilla is orange. It has a fox sitting off to the left of it, and it looks like a globe. Do not get Mozilla or Firefox confused with Internet Explorer, because Internet Explorer looks like a globe. It actually has an E on it. All of these look like globes. Why? Because you're going on the internet, which to many people may not know this. Everyone calls it the internet now, but at one time, www that people put in, that stands for World Wide Web. And I'm sorry if I feel like I'm talking dumb to people or I'm trying to explain this as if it's a new thing, but I really want this to be something that can help somebody either educate themselves or educate somebody they know who does web browsing or online anything. So I have Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge. We have Mozilla. We have Google Chrome. Last one that I'm going to do that most people use, but not many people touch unless you have a Mac, is Safari. Safari looks like a compass. That's the best way I can describe it. It literally, the main image is looks like it's a compass. And it's a pretty reliable browser. A lot of people use it, on an as needed basis, but it's different for everyone. I'm telling you all of these things, and I'm talking about, I'm breaking down information, just to get everyone on board and understanding that technology is here. It's 2016. It's not to take away from the options or the abilities to go back to writing on paper and sending mail to people and having a pen pal and actually picking up the phone and calling somebody. All of that's fine. But there are pieces and portions of technology that you have to do or you're going to have to face, and you can't hide from it. As much as you may want to, it's not a hideable option. It's going to be there today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, plain and simple. So I didn't want this to be kind of a extreme podcast. I wanted it to be a little different, a little relaxing. As you notice, it's not sports related, and I mentioned this before. I'm going away from sports for a while just to kind of ease my podcast down a little bit and just kind of calm it just for a smidge, because somebody needs this and somebody needs something a little different. So that's what this is for. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I was gonna get online and game. I may game later on. I don't know how I feel. Might help do some FIFA, but we'll see. I hope everyone is having an awesome 2016. We're well into, we're beyond the midway point. tiptoeing into the home stretch. Leo season is amongst us. Wished a few friends happy birthday. Kind of got caught off guard because I saw somebody else's birthday pop up on my phone, and I was like, oh yeah, she is like coming up. But anyway, me being me, just not thinking it through. Those of you who normally get the information on Facebook, if you have or have not heard or aren't aware, I am no longer on Facebook right now. I think it's for the best. If I really had to take a blind stab in the dark, I probably won't return on Facebook until 2017. And the reason why is because I need space to work on things that I need to work on to better me and better everything around me. And in order to do that, I have to start with some of the changes that I'm making. And this is the biggest one. Because most times I'll log out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to log out of Facebook for a while and then I'll come back. But now I'm really just detoxing and giving Facebook a rest. So I just want to share that with everyone. And also thank you all for listening and tuning into my podcast. If you're not following already, it is on iTunes. And if you need help finding the link, I can send you the link to it specifically. These are on Spreaker. I'm still on Twitter under Brate Podcast. Like I said, I'm not on Facebook. On Instagram, it's under Brate Podcast. Snapchat, Brate82. I may be making a Brate Podcast. Snapchat, I don't know. I truly doubt it. We'll see. But until next time, thank you all for listening. Y'all stay blessed. Be an uplifting spirit to someone, because Lord knows who may need it. But as always, BT signing out. Peace.